Our speaker today is Cassandra Hern, and she is a whiz with AI. And if you are on the fence about AI, she's going to change your mind. So. Thank you, and go ahead.
Where like you stand?
Wherever. Like, do you need me to do your presentation?
I will try and put it.
Oh yeah, but okay.
I block anyone if I stand right here. Okay, cool. Well, first, look at this photo. Maybe I can hear you. Does anyone here in single family?
Kind of.
Okay, so 1, 2. Okay, cool. So most of this is going to be for multi. Okay. So this is going to go over different tools and strategies used in our multifamily company. Just a little about me. Worked in investor relations and in real estate. We're in 5 different states right now. We have $50 million assets under management. We love using AI. We've been doing it for over a year now. We had AI implemented into our whole capital company while everyone was still excited that you can use AI to create a blog post. So we're really, really happy about that. We just kind of use AI, just every different aspect, asset management, due diligence, capital raising, investor relations, underwriting. We're really proud about our underwriting strategy. We have underwritten 900 deals in 2023, and we're a sponsor team too.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
900 deals in 2023. Yeah. That's a tough year for looking for deals.
Well, we have a whole process with that, so it's not so stressful. But let me see. So a little about me. Yes, so I'm multifamily real estate, investor relations. I also have my own capital company called High Rise Capital. And then I did some teaching with LunaX. LunaX is also an AI education company. We taught over 80 real estate investors how to implement AI into their whole capital company. And I decided to create my own company called CreativeMinds.ai. So that's pretty cool. I have a background in accounting operations. So that's kind of like my love for AI and automations because I'm really proud about what I helped out with accounting. I used to work, do you guys know Carvana? Mm-hmm. Okay, so Carvana and Drive 10. I used to work with their company and I used to do a lot of automations and helping duplicate ourselves too. So that was pretty cool. Automations, implementation, a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot more automations than just Zapier. You guys can implement automations into your CRM, different capital raising strategies, lead magnet, stuff like that. So I love doing that. Okay. So if you guys can't see this, I'm so sorry, I have big hair. So basically MIT had a study that showed that implementing AI into your company shows that you have a 15% gain in productivity against your competition. So I love that. I love when people don't want to implement AI because I already know that I'm going to be ahead of the game. And if you guys ever have questions, just like raise your hand because like it's not like just me presenting. So just raise your hand if you guys have questions, okay? And I love memes too. So if you guys are familiar with anyone working in accounting, like we love memes, and I used to just make memes all the time. And I'm not going to touch on it, but there's also an AI that helps you create memes too. So it's pretty cool. So there's different models out there that we use to implement to our company, but my favorite is going to be ChatGPT because it does a little bit of everything. So ChatGPT, if you're not familiar, who doesn't use ChatGPT? Okay, cool. It's a language model developed by OpenAI, but do you guys use any of the other tools that it has? Yeah. You do? Okay. Okay, cool. So it has a lot of other different stuff too. But before I get there, here are some of its competitors that I've only really used like these two right here. Have you guys used any of these yet? No. Okay. Claude is also awesome. A lot of these other ones that are competitors with ChatGPT, they're starting to charge more because they're seeing that like, okay, so ChatGPT is doing this thing. Now let me charge a little bit more to be a great competitor with it. So Claude is awesome. I like that one because it's kind of similar to ChatGPT, but it gives me more updated responses. So that one I use, for example, like I have like a large lease, so we moved in, we have a rental house, and it's like 130 pages. I added my whole lease agreement into Claude, so I can ask it questions. So I'll say, hey, if this broke, am I responsible or is the landlord responsible? And I would ask it like hypothetical questions.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Don't be the lawyer.
Well, it helps you read the document, so you're just like, what language? Like, am I responsible for this? Do I have to do loan care? Let me just type it in and just like tell me where the answer is. So you guys don't have to spend too much time reading. Gemini used to be called Bard. So this one, I haven't used this one in a while. But that one is also cool because we tested it out. You guys can upload photos. So what we did is like, we have a property in Missouri. I uploaded just a photo of the property and it told me that it was our property.
Wow.
And I was like, that's kind of cool. I didn't know it was our property.
That's kind of creepy, honestly.
Yeah.
Scary.
Well, this one's different because it's through Google, so it has like more updated responses. So that one is awesome too because what I did is like when I was planning for like different conferences to attend in 2024, I would ask Gemini, say, hey, I'm in multifamily real estate. I want to meet accredited investors, but I don't want to be limited to just multifamily conferences because you don't meet, accredited investors just at conferences. So I had it create like a whole spreadsheet of different conferences for quarter 1 and 2, just done.
Wow.
That's awesome. Yeah, save you time right there. Bing Chat. I'm not a Microsoft person, but that one is also out there too if you are a Microsoft person. Okay, so this I'll go over here so you guys can see it. Kind of forget what this is. So this is kind of going over different things that you can do with OpenAI. So this is ChatGPT. This example is me going over finding my investor avatar. So I have like a very strict prompt that I use that helps me find like just like their investment strategy, what social media they like, stuff like that. So it kind of goes over all of that. And I'm a big prompt person. If I want to figure out different things like ebooks, you don't want to sit there and type exactly what you want for your ebook. I built like hundreds of different prompts that help me ask ChatGPT better questions. So if I want to figure out different personas for investors, I do this and kind of tweak it because we have investors already and kind of just compare this against our current investors. You guys, yes.
Cassie, when you say, I'm sorry, when you say build the prompt, when you build the prompts, is there like a little tool that you type in to build that, or is it just down here in this search bar?
So that's a good question. So I like to do a lot of stuff for free instead of like outsourcing to different websites. There isn't an AI where you can build prompts, but I built a prompt to help me build prompts. So it kind of just says like, I forget what it says, but it says, ChatGPT, help me figure out how to ask you this better question. I'm gonna ask you, but I want you to create a prompt and then ask me questions to redefine that prompt. So one thing I was like, hey, I'm building a business. I don't know how to build this business. I want to figure out how to go from $100 to $1 million. And you just kind of talk to it. And then it asks you more questions like, okay, now do you want to implement AI into this? Do you want to have a big team, a small team? You kind of answer those questions and it helps you ask it better questions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Yeah. So I have that for like ebooks, building a book, creating a course, email marketing, Twitter posts, everything that you would want to have. So I have all of this warehouse. So if I have a virtual assistant, I can just say, hey, here are the tools. Now go execute. So you're not sitting there like, oh my God, I have to post today on social media. Let me write it really quick. You have the prompts and you have everything ready and you can just give that to someone else. Yeah. So that is pretty cool. There's a lot with ChatGPT I talk about, but I'm just kind of going over it briefly. this next one. So this is also ChatGPT, but it's DALL-E. Have you guys used DALL-E yet? So DALL-E is a text to image creator. So if you want to figure out any kind of image that you guys want, you guys can go into ChatGPT and ask it to create a photo, and it does it straight from here. Or you can go to DALL-E, which is still through OpenAI. It's all included in your membership with that. I'm not going to sell you. But I love this. DALL-E is pretty cool. I just kind of had it create something that was Colorado related. So this is what it thinks the Colorado house looks like. Is that right?
That looks real nice. So Cassie, what are the guidelines around that as far as like, when you use royalty-free images for your business, are these royalty-free when ChatGPT is generating them?
That's a good question. I feel like there's like at least a dozen lawsuits around all of that, just because what they did with like OpenAI, they're taking stock images from like real people, and there's still like open lawsuits with that too. Is that ethical, stuff like that? But with houses and stuff like that, luxury photos, beach photos, I use that because it's no faces.
So use it with caution.
Yes. Yeah. So the reason why I do a lot of AI generated images is because just like who we are, like a lot of people, a lot of students, they see our stuff and we kind of see our stuff and their stuff, they kind of replicate it. So what we do is we do AI generated apartment photos, AI generated photos of our investors, because we just want very unique images and we don't want to see what stuff that we had other places or use royalty or like stock photos from other places. Yeah, this is a good tool if you guys are doing like your webinars, pitch decks, stuff like that. It's a really good tool. And it's free if you guys already have ChatGPT. And this one, I use this a little bit. I want to implement this into my website. This is called Playground. It's also through OpenAI. Just a lot of different stuff in here that this is mostly for developers. So if you guys have your website and you want to go really, really advanced with it, you can hire like a virtual assistant to do like API keys into your website. So it does different things like, okay, just get on how this works. But different things like translating to different languages. You guys can translate one text into 20 different languages in one ask. Turn-by-turn directions if you guys have that kind of website. I saw on there it does like rap battle creations and stuff. So it gets kind of fun too. So grammar correction, product name generator, spreadsheet creator. So people are implementing this into their websites, into their operations too, because it just makes their life easier. This next one I don't think is going to show because it took forever to load, but there's also a text to video as well called Sora. Sora is pretty awesome because it's very, very realistic. We like that for different walkthrough videos or little promo videos that we do for our webinars, like showing a couple walking on the beach, something to like create like passive income, like, hey, like invest in real estate, you have passive income, you'll walk on the beach, stuff like that, more time with your family. I wish I would show, but Sora is not available to the public yet because there's different blue and red and green teams within ChatGPT for some reason, and I don't have access to it yet, so I haven't tested it. Okay. So if you guys are using ChatGPT or any AI generated stuff, there's a few things that always pops up when you use it if you don't ask it to give you a better response. And what I mean by that is your own tone of voice and your writing style. If you just ask it to write an email, a lot of the stuff that pops up is, I hope this email finds you well. It's AI. Let's delve into the details. And
I thought that was a guy in Indonesia asking me about car warranty.
Yeah. Delve in. Another one I always see, and it's kind of slight, so you don't notice it, but it's not just a networking event. It's a time to explore new opportunities. So whatever it says, it's not just it's this. ChatGPT, which I think is so funny, but we'll get into some of the things about making your writing a little bit more unique too. And this all makes sense for real estate, just, I promise. Okay, so how we are using AI in real estate. So we're optimizing our business. So we are a small team of 3, but the automations that we have, I want to say we're a team of 10. So we optimize it by like a lot of little things. Like we use ClickUp, we use Slack, we use G Drive. So we have automations built through all of that. So if we're in a meeting and we want to add something to ClickUp, we have an automation in Slack where it's just like this one chat will add things automatically to our project management tool. So if we don't want to be like, oh, let me write a list, let me type in that list. We have automations built in where this will add it to our project management tool and assign it to that right person. Let's see, we also do a lot of underwriting with AI. I touched on that too. So our method with that is pretty interesting. We love using virtual assistants. We have a virtual assistant that has about 5 years experience in real estate. So our process with her is like we have a pass, fail, and second look for our underwriting. So what we do is we have the prompt, we have her put in the numbers that are what we want to hit, and we upload the documents, our offering memorandum, or underwriting, everything that you have, and we have her run that through our own ChatGPT. We have it built in within our own system. So whenever you guys have the input comes in, it tells you like yes or no, whatever. The output doesn't go back to ChatGPT, it stays internal. So we have her do like the first run of the underwriting. If it hits a certain number, then our head underwriter will go back and underwrite it himself.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, because like you can't keep up with all this underwriting.
Right.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
That's like,
able to...
yeah. Yeah.
So all this is amazing, and if I were to sit down and try to figure out any of it, we would be sitting there just watching you stare at something. So all of these things, how long did it take you to go through, like, do you have to like go through Slack and whatever other systems and build that operational piece out so that you know, like, is there a series of steps that you have to go through, and like how long did that take you to get to that? Or is there, there's an area there where I would still be standing outside being like, well, sooner or later somebody will open the door. And so it's like, this is fascinating. I'm just really dumb, I guess. This is 'cause I don't even know where you'd start from. Like,
yeah, like I would say like when I first started, I didn't know where to start either. I started with Venus Capital and it was just a logo.
okay.
So we were just like, hey, we want to put AI into everything, but we didn't know how.
And so just trial and error and just building on top of different AI systems that you would discover and find?
I would say, okay, so I kind of did it like let me try everything, but I would say to get started, write down with the stuff that you do manually right now, what stress you guys have, what's taking the longest time, and then go and say, okay, so now let me make a list. And what I do, if I was to give advice, if I go myself a year ago, is I like to do talk to text with ChatGPT, and I told Kaya this too. She loves it. What I would do is like I get the app, the ChatGPT app, just press play and just talk. I'll say, hey, I have these pain points. I don't know how to figure this out. I hate doing this manually. This is taking me way too long. Just talk. You can talk for 10 minutes. And then you can stop it, and then it'll organize your ideas, and then you can start getting a plan in place.
Scott, it'll
I
organize
already know I'm gonna do it now, and I'll come back in a few months and tell you if I figured out the life that I'm fascinating.
Scott, if ChatGPT can organize your brain,
Yeah,
you are at a new level.
like I said, there's big things in the future now. Okay.
This is all possible if you have a plan. So ChatGPT organizing your plan. So I even use ChatGPT to like organize the house. Yeah, so not right now. Not right now. But before I did. So I'm like, okay, so I have this pantry. I don't know how to organize it. I have pasta here, pasta there, this, that. So I went and I said, okay, so I'm just talking. I have all of this in my pantry. I have 4 shelves. How do I organize it? And then it told me where to organize it. And like,
Holy crap.
wow, I'm like, cool. And then we recently moved into our house. I had no idea how to organize my office. So I said, I have these many windows. I have this major furniture. How do I organize it? And it told me wall by wall what I should put, and mirror here, do this there. I was like, cool, now I don't have to think about it. So it's not like, people said that AI is making us dumber, but it's just making us go further faster. So, but yeah, all of this is possible if you have a plan. So if you gotta figure out like where it actually makes sense.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that AI can be put into everything, because we put it into everything that makes sense so we can be there in person for our investors. So we have automation set up to funnel people in, get them for webinars, but when an investor calls, I want to be able to like be present on the phone.
Love it.
Yeah. And then I do want to talk about our deal analysis and investor relations. So who's raising capital? Okay, cool. So if you guys are raising capital and you have investors already, I love the question people always ask is like, how does it actually like implement into capital raising and investor relations? So the way that I do it is, and Scott, it's a lot, so we'll go over it later. Okay?
I appreciate that. I get the whatever, the dummy book later on. Perfect.
So I have a little things that help me are, I have an AI to help me create pitch decks. Really only one or two. I have an AI that helps create our slides. So this is kind of based on that, but I tweaked it because I like to tweak stuff. So realistically, you can create a whole presentation within 5 seconds, and then just tweak it for the different fonts that you like. I also use it. I have an AI speaking coach that joins all of my calls, but the ones that make sense. So if you're doing like any client calls, any webinars, and you want to monitor how you sound, if you're saying too many you sound tired, you sound energetic, you need to just using too many hedging words, it only shows on yours and it helps you get through that call a little bit faster. So that one is cool.
Really cool. Yeah.
I also have prompts that help me like figure out like someone's desires and objections that they might ask based on like past communications. But before I get there, I also have an app that will tell me like their personality. So if you know someone's like LinkedIn account or if you met them in the past, you guys can like put their profile through this app and it tells you like their DISC assessment.
Have you searched me up, Casey?
No. No, because that one's, yeah. I think that one costs like $1.50 per person, so I'm just like, just keep it, you know. But it tells you like how to negotiate with them too. So it's great for teams and for like potential investors. You can find out like, do they want to be talked to straightforward? Do they want more fluff? Like, how was your weekend? How are the kids doing? Or do they just want information? And you can also put it into your email, so it helps. It also writes my email for me for that particular email that they send me.
I think it has very good. I have a I feel like right now you cannot do any better work without AI. So yeah, I know most of the realtor right now use AI to create a listing. It takes 2 minutes and way better than themselves.
Yeah, but you have to be very, very careful because it is
you will
not
always revise
FAA
it.
trained. It's not trained.
Yeah.
It puts in the wrong stuff like master bedroom, which you can't say anymore, and
Yeah, you
have
always
to be very,
cautious.
very careful.
And
with
also
that.
in the short-term rental world, like a lot of people use house delivery, that kind of software. And a lot of guests, if ask some weird question, the AI write you just never be able to write like that polite. They will just calm down the guest and give the best words. Yeah.
And so like one workaround that we do with that is we build custom GPTs, and that helps us. Have you guys used custom GPTs? So ChatGPT has an option where you can create like a persona or your own employee. So I have one for my social media, like I have like hooks and call to actions and words I don't want to say, structures I want it to follow. But for that, I'd be really cautious with it. I use it internally, but I wouldn't give it to anybody. But you can put in the SEC guidelines or whatever guidelines that you have and use that verbiage and say, hey, make sure all of my output complies with this.
Right. I think an AI, the best use is like if you have lots of information, you ask AI to create a structure, and then you just revise little minor. I think that's always working way faster than you do yourself.
Yeah, I think that like you said, like the outline, because if you ask it to write an entire book, it just sounds like garbage.
Right.
You have to ask it to do like the outline and you approve it, and then you kind of talk to it like an assistant. I like what you did, now keep going. And I don't like this part, revise this. So yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so here is one of my examples. Okay, so how long does it usually take you guys to do like social media, blog posts, and newsletters? Long time?
Forever.
I have this little example right here. I scribbled out their name, but this is definitely ChatGPT when it has like the emojis and everything all in one like that. I don't even read those ones. I just kind of just look at the image and keep moving. But a lot of the AI generated stuff is kind of taken away of like your personality. So I say, yes, it's great to use ChatGPT, but put your personality into it too. If you guys didn't use emojis before, don't use them now. Or if you do want to use it now, do it wisely. Like, I don't think that, different emojis in different places make sense like that. And then this is a tool that we use to create our emails and newsletters and some of our social media. And it's kind of just a jumping off point too. If you don't want to sound like ChatGPT, I love this one because you guys can get YouTube videos. So you guys can get YouTube videos like Ken McElroy, Robert Kiyosaki, Clever Investor, any other real estate person that's talking about stuff. If you like exactly what they're saying, and you love like the trends for 2024, top 10 things I would tell to investors, stuff like that.
Is that like Tapio?
It's a Tugan. But yeah, it also does like Instagram posts too, your captions for that. I love it. So I don't know how long my example in this one is. But
So if you take a lot of like a video, they can edit the stuff, they can cut up the, and not really good for that.
it doesn't edit the video, it just it analyzes the words that they said into it. So it'll take the words that they said into it and turn everything they said into like a newsletter. Yeah. So instead of like, I like what they said, I'm gonna write down notes and then add it to here, you just kind of skip a step. Yeah, and then you can do different options if you want it to be a short email, a classic, or a long instructional one. You guys can customize like that. I like this one because it doesn't look like ChatGPT. And you guys can create social media posts without all of the hashtags and emojis too. I'm not sure about the price on this. I think we spent it like, bought it for the year and like we use it all the time. So it, the profit just doesn't matter about that. I mean, the NOI is, not sure why it's taking forever, but you can do a specialized one. 1 second. Yeah, because I think like before, I used to spend so much time doing blog posts. I used to read different ones that different sources would have and kind of like paste it together here and there, and it took me way too long. It's so weird. Okay. So yeah, that is the output that it comes with. So it generates your subject line and everything that you should say. One thing I do with my emails too is I also, whatever output I have, I do put it back through ChatGPT and I ask it to give me the probability that they'll open the email. And I have it estimate the open rates, and then, okay, so if they don't open it, what should my follow-up email be? And I kind of like think to myself, if I was doing a funnel with this particular email, if they do open it, okay, so what would the next email be? If they don't open it, you guys can do like an A/B test and resend it with a different subject line and go from there.
What kind of open rate are you seeing with this instead of just a regular email?
What do you mean like regular email?
Well, just like any other.
One that was typed by yourself as opposed from this thing.
Because it's usually pretty low if you just blast it out, right? But does it get significantly higher by using AI?
I would say ours is gonna be different from anyone else's because we also try to incorporate like our media appearances too. And we send it out to people that are already on our list. So it's like, it'll be different than people just sending it out to the new people that you just got in. But ours is about 50% right now.
Yeah.
But because we also like network with these people, they're our partners, investors, brokers, and we've talked to them on the phone or like met them in person. So it's going to be a little bit different. And then what we also do, we send different emails. So we do different newsletters for brokers than we do our investors. And then a third different style for our potential partners and existing partners.
And you can do all that pretty simple with AI, right?
Yeah, like the wording's just different. So like brokers, we want to just show who we are, show our track record, and then put in like podcast appearances, speaking events that we've done, and just links like through webinars that we've done so they see us. So it's going to be different. And then all of that's done within our CRM too. Yeah. So one cool thing, we taught this in one of our last classes because we taught like real estate investors how to do this, and they've gotten great results. One other thing that we do is like we also scrape broker information because we have people that know us. They know our track record, especially in Texas. But we want to be known by every broker in every state just in case we want to do business there. So we've scraped like hundreds of broker leads from different places, but a lot of the websites, you only get their phone number. So we have phone number and first and last name. So we do like an automation to text them and ask them to email us. And then once they get in their email list, then we start nurturing those relationships. But I wouldn't do anything like this for brokers because you want to sound a little bit more serious, talk about market trends that you've seen in your experience. Okay, so this kind of goes over adopting your own tone of voice for your writing. This kind of helps you sound like yourself in your writing. And one thing I do, if you guys don't know your tone of voice and what you want to sound like in your emails and how you want to be, presented, with this example, it kind of goes over taking Oprah Winfrey's communication style. So if you like how she sounds in emails and her soothing voice and her presence, you can do that. Or find out people like Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, how do they sound? So you guys can sound like that in your writing too. So I love using this method because I want my writing to sound like me. So when they meet me in real life, they're like, oh, that's you. My lead list has been, I think I have real estate related, it's like 11,000. But my investor is over 100,000 right now. When conference I went to September, it was pretty funny because someone was like, I know you. I get your emails. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Okay, so this is me putting in a document. So one thing I love to do if I want to figure out anyone's tone of voice, what we do is we record all of our calls with AI, an AI note taker called Fireflies. It joins all of our calls. So this one was a long meeting. I think it was like 2 hours. It's us going over strategy and talking about different things. I wanted it to take this particular call because I was doing a lot of talking and find out my writing style, my tone of voice, and how I can translate that in all my writing. So you're not sounding like the basic output that ChatGPT has. So with my writing, I need to be clear and precise, stay focused on objectives, and I have a high level of professionalism and a deep understanding of my industry. Okay. So all of that, like if you get that, you guys can put that into custom instructions in ChatGPT. So whenever you write anything, all of that will always sound like you. Have you guys done custom instructions yet?
No.
You say custom instructions?
Yeah, so I don't have it on the screen, so if you have ChatGPT, it'll be like a settings on the bottom left corner. There's custom instructions where you can always ask it to not say, I hope this email finds you well, and to never use the word delve or just certain things that this doesn't sound like you. And then add in your tone of voice and your writing style, so all the output will always be you. Okay, this one's a big one. And I know it's like 7 o'clock on a Tuesday, so I'm sorry. There's so much information. Just bear with me here. This is a big one for smaller teams. And so first thing right here is KPIs. If you guys don't have KPIs in your real estate business right now, I would think about those ones. Like, okay, so one example would be underwriting again. I know a lot of like newer teams are just like, just underwriting. I wrote one deal this week. You guys set KPIs. Okay, so within our team, we're going to underwrite 5 deals this week. And then for investors, we're going to have 6 investor calls this week. And we're going to make sure we have social media posts 5 days a week, creating those KPIs. So when you guys can look at the numbers and see how your performance is doing, that is perfect. And we use AI with that too. Within our company, we have a lot of different strategies from the book Traction. Traction is a big business book too. What I did with that, I'll just touch on it, but it's a lot. What I did with that is I transcribed the book. So I love doing that too, and that's a whole other topic too. But basically, if you have any audiobook, you can record that entire book, download it to a PDF, put it into ChatGPT as a custom GPT or a different topic, and then you can ask it questions. So if you have like any like Robert Kiyosaki book, any business planning book, and transcribe all that. So you can take your plan that you talk to ChatGPT, take that plan against the whole book. So now you have a little advisor on your team too.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Is there a database that like other people have transcribed this audio?
There should be. But yeah, so we can ask the book and say, hey, this is the situation we have. How do you suggest that we do this based on chapter 1 or chapter 3 or stuff like that? So I love that one. That's what I did to build like my business, is like, how do I build a blueprint? Like, how do I do a business plan? And then how should I be different from everyone else? So you can always have that and then ask a question. It's great for like personal development books too. You guys can always have that to reference. Because I don't remember books when I read them. I write down stuff and it's like, what did that one book say? But I can always ask it now. But that method is great for KPIs. SOPs. I like doing SOPs for just tracking. You guys ever want to hire a VA, especially like Philippines, like $5 to $10 an hour. They have an SOP. As long as they know how to do it, they can just get up and get going. Another thing is note taking. I use Fireflies, like I mentioned before. It joins all my calls. So it joins all my calls during long meetings. I don't have to worry about taking notes ever again. I have a method too, because like with Fireflies, you have to pay for them to summarize everything, give you action items. I just download the transcript and ask ChatGPT to give me the KPIs from that meeting, a summary, and action items for each person. And then take those action items, and then you can just use that for project management tools.
Wow. I'm so far behind the curve.
I know. It's just like because there's so like we're doing so much that it's just like you can't write stuff down and then like, okay, I'll add it to the project management tool afterwards, or I'll do this later. It's now or never. So we're like, okay, we have a lot to do. Let's just keep going. So that's kind of how our team of 3 just kind of moves so fast. So I want to pause and have you guys kind of think like for your own businesses, own real estate, where you guys want to think to yourself, where could that be implemented into your company? And I'm going to get some water. But I do want to ask too, because I'm going to make you guys think. I know it's late, but I want to make you guys think too. Where would you guys put it into your business?
I mean, I think that the answer is very subjective because I will make AI do what I don't like to do. So it would be complementary. So whatever I don't like, maybe like it can be useful for that.
Yeah.
Like my question for you, let's say I want to implement AI in my business, like what would be my first step? Like I hear you talking like all these things, but and then at one point you said you are guys also do classes and not student. Like, do I hire you and your team and you guys teach me, or like I just go to ChatGPT and start play with that, and then it's how many times you get it wrong or get it right, and then it's learning your personality. Like how? What do you suggest?
Good question. So I'm actually building my own online course that kind of walks through everything. Because a lot of people always ask me questions and I'm like, I want to help people get there faster than I did. Because when I started, it was just me. I started in real estate and I was like, multifamily is cool, but like, how do I actually do that? So I did go to a coaching program, a 3-day class, and I was like, it's a lot of money to put down on a coaching program. I'm going to figure it out myself. But figuring it out myself took me a lot longer to get there. And I did have a team at the time. I was like, wow, great, I have a team. This is awesome. But I always felt like it was like 4 of us, but I did so much on my own. And I was like, okay, I got to work on my own. And that's when I started working at Venus Capital, because like, we're like, okay, we're going to move faster. We're going to do AI. We're going to put AI and multiply ourselves. Because when I started, it was just like, no one was there to teach me real estate. No one was there to teach me AI. And it took me like a year to like, okay, so now I can make blog posts, and do emails. I have the confidence to do the lead magnets and get people in. I'm learning more like the business aspect. So I want to do an online course and I'm building that to help people get there. And it kind of starts from start to finish, that everything that you would need to do. Like, what's your logo look like? AI creation, what's your branding, your tone of voice, and AI to build your website, how to set up your custom instructions, how to do your custom GPTs, and making like you be like a team of 10. So it's in the works, I promise. But I also do consulting too, so I also help people if they have like one-off stuff, like, hey, I need help building these funnels, I need help doing building like a social media plan, stuff like that. So, and then I also am working on social media too, a whole other course on that too. It's pretty cool.
So would be, why are you different, unique from Venus Capital? Are you guys gonna be competitors or it would be a collaboration?
So Venus Capital is a capital company and I have my own company that is a consulting company. So not necessarily competitors, definitely collaborators, because like no matter what, like this space is small, and I think that like, you know, if you see that like there's competition, it's kind of like a scarcity mindset. Like I always want to do like collaborations and work with other people too. So it's all wins here.
No, I believe in collaboration. I think that if more than half people here do multifamily, I think there is space for everyone.
Yeah.
And to me, multifamily is a teammate.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. And like this kind of helps you like build yourself too. Is like, I've been using AI and now I'm just like, okay, so I'm my own team within this, but it also puts my value at a higher level where I want to help people, you know, like I want to help people get there faster. If someone else has a stronger skill with underwriting is like my weaker suit, because I obviously need to get better with it to be there for investors. But if someone else does underwriting better, it's like, wow, I want to collaborate with you. How can I help you? So this, learning AI and different strategies to get there faster, that's me being able to help other people and other teams.
Okay. I'll reach out to you.
I have a question. So, one way that can it be used to vet the different types of financing models, whether it be, let's say you're for example, under construction or stuff, so we're exploring the different financial models. How highly relevant is that to like maybe financing certain projects? And
Just looking for investors the same way. We're looking at doing some investment properties that we're gonna build. And so I guess you could build the funnels the same way, just trying to find out your prototypical investor, what he'd like to do, and have it go out and kind of help you the same way, because I think they're transferable.
well, even the financial institution, like from the hierarchy of what those look like and what things to ask for. Can you do like a prompt for all of that?
So I guess my question would be like, where are you getting that information from? Do you have, is it just like on websites? Like, can you write out what the different structures are?
So you would have to feed like ChatGPT that to get feedback back from it? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, no, I'm asking like, okay, so let's say there's 5 different structures. Do you have like from different websites any like information about those different ones?
We're building those right now, that's why we're asking. So.
Okay.
We're building them, but I feel like it's such a time suck for us right now.
Yeah. Well, I think like if you have the information, like let's say you have 5 different models, like bridge loans, seller finance, stuff like that, you can explain what it is to ChatGPT and build like a custom GPT. That's something that you can always ask it. You can upload PDFs, Word docs, so if it houses that information, and then you have the deal that you have, and you can test it and ask it like, okay, I have this deal and I want to see what type of financing works for me, you could do that too. As long as you can give it information, because I wouldn't trust it to pull information from anywhere.
Thank you. That's the piece I was trying to clarify too.
And that's something similar like how we do like our underwriting too, like we feed it information to get information back.
Okay.
So I wouldn't trust like, say, hey, look up different seller finance, different ways of finance, because the information, even though ChatGPT is up to date technically, because you can ask it to, cite its sources, but I wouldn't trust just to have it pull.
Okay.
So I would give it that information.
Thank you.
No worries.
So as of now, you would use it more to have like draft and then double check it.
Oh yeah, always double check it. I just use it to like give the ideas, but always double check to make sure it makes sense. Anything that it cites, if the information sounds fishy, I would ask it to cite its sources too. But anything like new, like if you're like trying to find like new information, like I mentioned before, like conferences, I would always ask it to cite its sources, especially with like Gemini, because Gemini is Google, so it will pull from a certain source. But ChatGPT will kind of get it from anywhere. That's mine. So I kind of just wrote down every area that we can use AI from, but I just put this on there, but I'm not saying like use it in everything. Use it where it makes sense, for sure.
How secure is it as far as, because with underwriting and different things, you've got a lot of confidential information. How secure is it with that information that you're putting into it?
That's a good question. So the output will go back to ChatGPT and OpenAI, and then not everything is reviewed by human eyes, but some things are. So what we did is we have ChatGPT internally with one of our programmers put it into our system. So we get the input, but the output doesn't go back. One other thing that we do with that is we have investors that are a little bit older. Some of them are in their 70s or 80s, and they don't want to read like the PPMs, the private placement memorandums. So we just advise them, or we do it for them. We block out like their social security numbers and stuff like that, and they can use Claude, ChatGPT, or AI PDF. That one's a lot more accurate. You can put in a document and ask it questions. So we tell them like, hey, put in the PPM, and you can ask it what the IRR is going to be, cash on cash. Ask it any questions that you would have, because they don't want to read that whole document. Does that answer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
So did you essentially have to put like a firewall or something in place internally so it wouldn't speak back to?
So that's a good question. Something to do with API keys. I don't know what more than that. He's like a software developer. He's like,
Gotcha.
yeah. So it's in our internal system, so the output doesn't go back.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's important, because like some of these tools, like, we're kind of just like feeding their information so they can use it for other things. But obviously, like, what makes sense, like the things that work best for us, presentations, you can do it in 5 seconds. We do spreadsheets because if you ask it to do a spreadsheet, it creates a whole spreadsheet for you and you're just done. I love Excel, but I'd rather just create it with this and website scraping is a big one too. That's great for finding investors, but also like getting those investors in and then warming them up before you start emailing them. It's a lot. But is there anything on here that you guys look at and you're just like, what the heck is that?
Website scraping, is that looking for investor websites and then
Yeah, like so it's like scraping public information. So if you try to scrape information, like social security numbers, that's illegal. But we definitely did that for like a lot of broker information. And we kind of do that as well for like networking events too, because there's thousands of people at networking events, so you can't talk to everyone. We scrape that information and follow up with them after. Great if you have WhatsApp too, and there's a conference that you attend and the group chat is only in WhatsApp. There's not a website scraper, but a scraper that you can get. Yeah, but I would say like always be collecting information. Lead magnets, social media. If you can like lead them to your website or lead them to something that give value, make sure you give them that value and like nurture that too. So it's a lot. But I would say the best things for anyone starting out would be like make sure your website is created, logos created, funnels for sure. Because if you have 20 investors, 30 investors, like you want to nurture that relationship too. Yeah. Oh, and ebooks. I love creating ebooks. And then this is some of the AI tools I would say are just for real estate. I know I kind of ChatGPT in here too, but there's a lot of them. Pretty sure there's probably like newer ones that keep coming out. Let me see. There is one. Okay, it's not here. Pinata's also a good one too. Have you guys heard of Pinata? Pinata's a good one too. We use that in our properties. It's like a little reward system for people. So it incentivizes the tenants to pay on time. They pay on time X amount of times, they get a free gift card. It's a low cost to us. We pay $1 per person, but we get the benefit of them paying on time because we have people that we have to evict sometimes, or late payments. Have you guys used any of the other stuff on here by chance, like underwriting, asset management, due diligence? Okay, well, I will say with like any of the real estate ones, don't pay for a year membership, an annual fee, because sometimes a newer one will come out that's cheaper and better. We've definitely been there too. We got like a whole year membership of like Midjourney for like image creation, but we didn't need it. So anything AI, just do like a month or whatever free trial, and then see if you like it. If it makes sense to you and you want to pay for the whole year, definitely do that.
So you use different one depend on your task?
Yeah, and it's still, all of them are still new. So I've been using like different ones, like with like our lead magnet automations. I use 2 of them to test them, and I'm like, okay, one is 13, one is 15. Maybe the $13 one is better, so I'll stay with that one.
What are your top 3?
Top 3 of the last one?
Yeah.
That's a good question. So I am listing these here, but we don't use all of them because we found workarounds to do it for free. So like underwriting, we don't pay for that. I think it's like $2,000 a year or something like that. Market research, we found a workaround for that. I know there's like Bright Investor, but we have our own method to just do it in-house.
So for underwriting, I didn't understand. You use one of these, so you have your own system.
We have our own system.
Okay.
So yeah, we just use a prompt and have it like review it like human eyes instead of spending money on it. Because like I love finding workarounds because I'm just like, wow, you gotta pay for what now? It's like if you add up all like the money that like they want you to pay with all these, it'd be like so much, and then not like that much of a return on value for it too. So.
Did you find out in regards to like investor relations software?
Yeah.
You did that on your own as well?
Yeah, so like I would say like funnels and stuff like that. Funnels, ways to do like automated webinars and automated text messages. We send our investors happy birthday emails and texts.
But not like distributions and stuff like that.
No, I don't know. So I
Like
do
your software creation though. Because you do that. You could do-
for distributions.
Yeah, like for like all the back end book. I know it's sensitive and all that kind of stuff, so it would happen, but I mean like the creation itself, because that's expensive. That's a big investment.
We use InvestNix.
You do.
So each invoice is going to be different because they charge you based on the distribution. I mean, we're invoiced I think like $700 a month for that, but we have to send X amount of money with that. I wouldn't automate it because it does it based on like their percentage of the deal,
Yeah.
but it also depends on like what the asset manager sends over. So if there's like an adjustment that needs to be made, the amounts that they have on their spreadsheet might be different from what's in InvestNix. So if I automate that, it's kind of like, hey, I just sent you $20,000, but I wasn't supposed to.
Yeah, I know. I think that we found a way to work around that big investment. I'm like, dang.
No, even in accounting, we wouldn't automate it. Someone always reviews
Sure.
it. Yeah.
Sure, I get that.
And then even after that with distributions, like day after, I export it, send it to the asset manager, and she reviews that to make sure it matches up with the bank account.
Right.
But always have human eyes with that too.
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
always. Because I did that once too, because like we have different classes, and if you add in all the amounts for one, like class A1 would be people that put in X amount of money, so they get 10% of the deal or 5%. And if you add it in wrong, it's like, oh my god, I just sent them $30,000. You can, like in the long run, but then like the other people don't get paid. So here's like just a little bit of how I do my little AI powered team. First one is going to be human resources. This is, I get really strict with it because I want to make sure I'm working with the right people. With our VAs, we have them all fill out DISC assessments. I forget what that stands for actually, I should have written down, like dominance, who knows what that means? Like dominance, intelligence. Yeah, so I forget what it means right now, but basically it's Tony Robbins always talks about personality tests. Do you have a higher dominance? Are you more of a networker, influencer? We have everyone fill out DISC assessments, virtual assistants, potential contractors, and potential partners too, because we want to know people's personality. So we
like the predictive index?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah, so we put their PDF, so they give us a PDF. We compare it against our personality to see where we mesh or might be collaborative with. Like we like working with people that have more of like a dominant personality that take charge, and that like networkers and influencers, stuff like that. So we want to see who we're going to work with before we hire them. And so for our VAs too, we have a website that has, like everyone has to put a DISC assessment on there. So you can filter through VAs by their DISC assessment. So we always filter by high dominance. Yeah.
Dominance, influence, steadiness, and consciousness.
Steadiness. But steadiness, they changed it though. The FA was changed it to something else.
I've heard it called, my husband made me do the PI,
Yeah.
the predictive index, because they were doing to work and they pay a lot. So he kind of like got me in because he wanna see my personality before we got married. I mean, I think we were working, but it's actually very interesting. I don't think there is a right or wrong, but like reading my personality and reading his, then being like, I know, like, okay, he's an introvert. He just needs to stay on the sofa by himself, and I don't need to bother him. I'm extrovert, so like I just need to get out of the house, so we know we don't bother each other.
We should do that. But yeah, I like little things that make a big difference. Like we do that too. There's also another one too. They call the Clifton Strength Test. That one's a newer one, but she's a doctor that has it. So that one also tells you like your strength in your job. So if you feel like you're a better networker, but your work is something that you don't work with like front-facing clients, it tells you where you're best fit in the company. So that one's also another one too. We use it for marketing, like I said. We use it to create our ads. We use it to create email marketing, digital marketing, and public relations. We have a whole public relations strategy. How we send out our speaking packets to different conferences, different things like that. Podcasts, we have a whole strategy for that. So get on podcast questions already built out. So once we get the yes, we already have the questions and all marketing for that. Chief Financial Officer, I just have that for myself so I can just keep track of just my own stuff. I have different stuff that helps me build out spreadsheets and make sure I'm on track with everything. Public relations, like I said, my own social media manager. It's just me, but I have my custom GPT, so I make sure all of my output looks good. Making sure I have a high reach on everything and I can keep track of that. My own project manager too, so if I have things I need to add, I can upload it in there within a few minutes instead of spending a lot of time. Customer service, we have an AI that I don't use all the time, but it does outbound calls for you.
Wow.
It does outbound calls and it can sound like your voice.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, AI. Well, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it also it changes and it responds. Whatever they said. Do you want to hear more about this? Yes. Great. I would love to send you more information. Can I email you? Yes or no, and it changes. It can say for that.
How much do they handle the accent?
Pretty well so far. One of my partners, she has like a really thick accent, so it understands her. Yeah. So far, it's good. But not on everything. So like I said, where it makes sense. So I wouldn't do like outbound calls for everybody, but just for people that are already in our system. And then sales, because investor relations is basically a sales job. So I have a whole sales method with that too, to make sure we nurture people and follow up with them in a timely manner. So yeah, all of these, you guys can create custom GPTs for yourself.
So is that like project manager? So for example, if you're managing 10 people and then they handle different projects and then you set up a timeline, you can automation the email send out. Like can you automation the email sent out to that person? Like you put the project, the timeline up front, then the AI can create the different timeline and then remind that person. Just a reminder. Automation email, something like that.
Not an automation email, but you can create I use Go High Level, so you can create like tasks for them. But I use like project management tool for that. I would say like I have a GPT for that where it's like everything that I would say as a project manager, all my teachings, but I don't have to re-say it. So you can also give that to someone too. So everything that I would want to tell someone, I have in a custom GPT, so I can share that with them. So if they have questions, they can ask it. And then with that too, like say, hey, we just had a big meeting and I need to figure out my plan. I use a custom GPT to figure out my plan. And you can put it onto a CSV file from ChatGPT and ask it to put it in that format and then upload that into whatever project management tool. So it takes away from like, man, what should I do? Man, how do I tell them to do this? And like, I don't want to do too much like execution. I want to do like the main plan and make sure that the plan is in place and give to people. Kind of like that saying, like, plan your work, work your plan. So I like to plan my work and then make sure the work speaks for itself too. So yeah, project management tool is pretty awesome. And that is it. So you guys.
Yes. Woo!
And then I have a gift for you guys, okay? I have a gift. So this little thing right here, I put together 24 different AI tools to survive 2024. Cause like I go over so much, but I always give you guys that same information I just discussed too. And if you guys want this slide, let me know and I can send that to you too. And then in this little automation that I have, I also gave you guys another gift too. 50 ways that you guys can use ChatGPT in your business. So fun stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
And if you guys have
Very
any
cool.
questions, I'll be here too if you guys want to ask any, or out in front of everyone too. If you guys have any questions now.
All right. So I have one. It's not business related. So I had $1 million idea a couple years ago, and I just let it slide away. I hate cooking. I know you're a fabulous cook. My idea was to create an app that you could scan your grocery receipt.
Okay.
So the app knows what you have in your house and then create a recipe from what you have currently.
Wow.
Can that do that?
Yeah, so ChatGPT, you can put in any photo and it'll tell you what it is. Like when our AC was broken, I was like, how do I fix this? My gosh, it's like,
Exact same idea.
So I put in a photo of it and it told me what model it was and how to
I'm recording it.
Okay,
because I
so
would
it's like, you can like build up a database, like I have chicken and I have this and I have this, and it can give you recipes of.
I do it all the time.
Oh my goodness.
So I do a lot of ChatGPT recipes.
Yay.
Yeah, like I'll say, hey, I have chicken, I have this, like what can I make with
Oh
it?
my goodness, that's what I need. Okay.
Oh yeah. It helps me for everything. There's different, there's so many different things that you can do. A lot of personal development stuff too. If you, like I said with the book thing, if you guys have any books or any teachings, whatever you like, put it in there. You can keep asking it questions. Yeah. Helps like organization, productivity, anything, literally anything.
So anything can help you like keep your book, like a business book.
She was saying if you have an audiobook, you can upload it and then.
Yeah, so Audible, if you have Audible, or Spotify has free audiobooks if you already have the membership with them. Yeah, so they have a lot of business books on there too. A lot of cool stuff, a lot of real estate stuff too. So if you have that, you can transcribe it and add it in there. Yeah.
How are you transcribing it?
So I also want to listen to the book, so you can record it on your laptop and play it on your phone or vice versa. And when you're listening to it, like, okay, I'm listening to the book, I'm understanding it, but I'm also transcribing it. So you can also get that benefit of listening to it. You can do that. I do that with conferences. So if I'm at a conference and I'm like, wow, like they're just like saying so many cool things. Like I wanna get as much as possible from this. I'll record it on my phone and send it to Firefly to transcribe it and then add it to ChatGPT. Yeah. Yeah. Or like if you guys, different coaching programs and they are a lot of Zoom videos, you guys can transcribe all of that and just summarize it, and then you have all the learnings to go over. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. So you guys have any more questions?
Can you just do it for me?
Great question. She's gonna build your robot.
I know. I'm sure it'll still unravel and make sense once you get going, but if it's if it's all still foreign, yeah.
Yeah, I know it's Tuesday night. I know.
I
understand.
stole your question.
You didn't steal my question. I was fascinated by all of it and frightened and scared.
There's some theory talk about if with the AI develop so fast, the one they're gonna replace the humans.
Well, they say that, I forget the exact number, but they say, like, I'm going to make up a number, AI is going to take 80 million jobs, but it's going to create, like, 93 million.
Yeah. Think about that one. I think they say, like, the switchboards with the phones, like, 400,000 people lost their jobs in 19 whatever when they finally had internet, but then how many jobs would be created in the cellular world?
Yeah, no more milkmen and stuff like that. But it's helping with different people that have disabilities, too. So it's creating more jobs for them too as well. So it's taking over, but like I always look at the positive side of it. Everyone's always going to have negativity with it, but what is positive about it is it works for us. So.
Go ahead.
Oh, so I think everyone here might be interested to learn more from you. My question is that, like, if you have to choose someone for a collaboration, like, what value we could add to you so you could be more interested in collaborating with people instead of just teaching?
See, I love that question. I feel like I'm like learning how to answer that a little better. I always get that. I would say like I'm open to collaborating with people. I also don't want people to be like too shy to reach out to me too. If I say I want to collaborate with X amount of people, it kind of like takes away from people that just want to talk to me. So I would say I'm open to talking to anybody, but with collaborations, I'm still kind of deciding like what I want to do with that. Because when I got started in real estate, I said, hey, I want to work with the top people doing things at a high level. I want to learn from them. I want to be able to provide that value and skills I have for them so I can learn from them. But on the flip side too is like I've been there, like I've started on my own, but I want to be able to help people. And it's kind of like Tony Robbins, like turning decades into days. I don't want people to take decades to get there. So if you guys have questions, just don't be too intimidated to reach out, is what I'm saying. Okay.
Okay.
I am an eternal optimist as well, but in the area I've had brokers, individuals like post up, are you sick and tired of getting this AI thing? Like they picked up on things that they're pretty savvy to be like, this was generated by something else, right? Have you gone out to like make stuff and had feedback that you received that like people were onto that, or have you had, because Tanner and I were talking, and it's like, well, if I had an AI person or AI generic email that went out all the time, at some point does my clientele, like, do they still, like, do I become disingenuous in terms of that? Like, I'm just wondering, like, feedback from certain where there's parts where, yes, it's great and it's fantastic. I think that there's 1,000 things that I'll go and create a small little friend that hangs out with me all the time now in my house, on my phone. But I'm partially kidding. But there's an area there where, like, have you ever received feedback as you go through to do this that someone's like, I know what you're doing here and I hate it? Like, just out of the box, I have never, half the stuff you've talked about, I think is amazing. I just have never begun to even delve into it.
Let me delve into it. So I'm not going to include this in anything, but I would say that none of my stuff has been flagged. I did write a Forbes article for someone else, and it wasn't flagged as AI at all because I do it with AI, but then I also proofread it, make sure it sounds like that person as well.
Okay.
So nothing has been flagged. My emails sound like me because I have it sound like me, and then I also proofread it too. So I like my main job being like the reviewer. So it's like I want to have a plan in place, so I'm not like, oh my god, I have to do this. It's going to take so long to write this email. Like I want to have a plan to do it and then just review it.
Fantastic. And you need to coin your little ABC. Always be collecting, by the way. You should make sure
be collecting. So I won't spam you guys, but like this is stuff that you guys should be doing too. Is like, hey, I have this QR code. And then just start nurturing those relationships too. So nothing has been flagged as, oh my god, this sounds like ChatGPT. I have had someone like, multiple people say like, use like an AI to do everything. And I'm like, an AI where it makes sense.
Okay.
So I don't I automate messages. Like that's me that responds on social media. If I take forever to text back, it's still me. It's just like, so I don't automate any of that. So my social media, like I still review everything too and make sure it sounds like me.
Sure.
I would say about that, because I didn't see anything before either, but like SEO friendly hashtags too. One thing, like I always see people is like, you guys, like not you guys, but people forget to put like hashtags to like reach your audience, and then also make sure it has like the tagging, like, hey, I'm in Denver, so make sure this is Denver, the who, what, when, where, and why, and make sure it sounds like you.
And I appreciate that. Because part of my question sometimes is to ask the parts of how do you make sure you've been doing stuff not to trip and fall. So I really appreciate that.
That's fair.
When you're reviewing the data and you're looking at who comes, the traffic and who clicks and who stays and who does whatever, does that help you at all develop your tone a little bit more? Are there like little techniques that you can just try and then see? I mean, how specifically can you pinpoint, what needs to change about your presentation in the emails and all that stuff?
I would say that we kind of go on a quarter basis. So if you guys already follow me on like Instagram, for example, I talked about like the 12-week year. So like each quarter, if you're not familiar with the book, each quarter of the year, so trying to get like a whole year's worth of stuff done in that quarter. So every year we kind of review all of our social media and the analytics and stuff like that. But within our CRM, that's like a whole class I can go over too about like how to set up your funnels. And him too, he's super smart with that. But like getting very sophisticated with like, it shows you like when they click on an email, when they don't click on it, doing A/B test, stuff like that. So you can see who's not interacting with your stuff, and then you can figure out a plan to say, okay, our open rate is like 10%, what's going on? Is it our subject line? Is it the time of day we send it? Is it the people that we're sending it to? One other thing too, if you guys are doing like in-person events, if you guys ever host meetups too, if you guys do like Eventbrite, for example, there's a whole strategy with that too, getting like cold leads and getting them in and getting them into like a warm lead into your CRM. So once you get that cold lead in there, you can get more information from them. If you only have like their first, last name and email, but you want their phone number, there's ways to like put them in there and try to provide as much value as you can. Things to look out for in 2024. What Robert Kiyosaki's saying. Did you see this interview? Or, hey, I was on this stage, I want to show you this. Hey, I went to this event and I heard someone say this. So if you continue like provide that value to them, they'll keep coming back.
You gotta make sure it's just like you're having the right hooks for your audience. I mean, hooks is the first thing they see, and if they like your hook, they'll read the rest of your things. So that's pretty important.
Yeah. Like I get a lot of weird hooks too. Like I get like all like the multifamily stuff. One like it's just crazy. Like sometimes I don't open them because there's just so much, but like you have to have, like she said, like the right hook for the audience. Like a lot of my list is like dentists. So I'm just like, okay, so how do I reach dentists? They're busy. What time of day? What should I say? What'll grab their attention? And you can use AI to say, hey, I want to have like the subject line that grabs the most attention. What do you estimate that the open rate is going to be? Yeah, there's so much. And like I said, like I started with like not really knowing anything. I'm just like, wow, I want to do so much. But narrowing it down and saying, okay, now I'm going to focus on my emails for today. Now I'm going to focus on social media. It's a lot, but like if you figure out where you need help, and then you can just kind of go from there.
Yes, thank you.
But yeah, I'll have this up on here if you guys want to scan this. And
So how can we reach out to you when you send us email? That's your real email?
That's my real email. Check your spam folder too, because I've noticed like personal emails keeps going to spam.
That's true.
But I also have my my digital card in there too.
Oh.
It's at the bottom, so if you guys download that.
Right when you hit submit, you hit click.
Yeah.
It's set up.
Yeah, automations. Yes, thank you guys. If you guys have any questions, I'll still be here for a little bit too, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to be respectful of your time, but we do like to do a group picture, and then we actually do a raffle. So if everyone has signed in, you can win a gift card. And then we are open. Feel free to stick around, network, talk, ask Cassie questions. Like we don't have a time frame, but I don't want to hold anyone up. But next step is group picture. I think.
So yes, thank you guys, Cassie. Thank you so much. And like Lisa.